everybody, I'm Cortes and I'm a critic. Okay. Alright. We're talking about the Seattle Seahawks. We are concluding the NFC West. Seattle, best known for the 12th man, have 11 picks. They have a lot. I got my water. It's gonna be a lot. It's gonna be a lot, guys. Seattle is completely rebuilding itself from the ground up. They got new players, they got some old players, and they got players that you're wondering, hopefully it works out. Seattle, a team that I felt like was one of the most consistent teams in the NFC West, has now become more of a wild card of, I wonder what they are. So, with 11 new men on the roster, and the player they got already on the roster that have already been proven to be worthy, I can't help but feel I'm kind of excited because there's a lot of question marks, but those question marks don't come off as intimidating or threatening. They come off as, I can't wait to see what they are. So we're talking about the Seattle Seahawks to conclude the NFC West 2025 draft recap. Okay, so with 11 picks, there's no time to waste. With the 16th overall pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Seattle Seahawks selected Gray Zabel, offensive guard, South Dakota State. For those of you who aren't familiar, South Dakota State and even North Dakota State are viewed as one of the most competitive, smaller school programs in the country. And it's funny because they're both coming from the Dakotas. So, when I hear them get a guy that's an offensive lineman from Dakota, I can't help but feel like this guy must be one of those type of players that got intangibles, that got the height, that got the weight, but just so happened to go to a small program. Sometimes that happens for reasons probably as simple as, I didn't want to leave the state, to I kind of like the small environment without the pressure, the spotlight of Alabama, Ohio State offers. Who knows? But them getting an offensive guard, I always feel interior offensive linemen are designed for run support, while the exterior offensive line, like the tackles, are for protecting the passer. Now, Sam Darnold is coming into a brand new team with big money. I think a little more money than Baker got when he went to Tampa, but yeah, you get what you negotiate, not what you deserve in this world. Let's remember that. Remember that. It's not what you deserve, it's what you negotiate. So, seeing them come in, I can't help but feel like this is a run support. I feel like they want to get Walker III, his running back. I feel like the running back for Seattle has been plagued with injuries over time. And I feel like Kenneth Walker III is a gem. Now remember, they do have Jackson, Cooper, and Marquez and Noah on the receiving end of their receiving core. And the question is, how quickly can Sam Darnold get acclimated into this new offense scheme? But he has four good quality weapons to go with. So yes, you don't have Justin Jefferson, and that's gonna be hard to replace a Justin Jefferson. But do not look at these gentlemen here and think that you're coming into a weak team. You may not have an A++, but you still have an A team. I'm not gonna say A+, and I'm not gonna say A-. I think you still have a good A quality receiving core. But to help make it easy for you, we're gonna run the ball in the middle. So getting Gray in there to help Walker is clearly making me feel like we want to run the ball. Then we go to the second round. With the 35th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Seattle Seahawks selected Nick Manawari, safety, South Carolina. I hope I said that name right. This is a guy I've heard almost every conversation when it comes to defensive player for teams that need defensive players. Some that say they may not need a safety, but if Nick is there, get him. That's what I keep hearing a lot of during the draft segments. And it was weird because when I think of South Carolina, I think about what they were, them being denied the playoffs, and what they did at quarterback. And then the defense got brought up, but a lot of it was a lot of it was Nick in his Nick is a big dude. And getting him in there, people are getting that feeling of, oh, so we're trying to rebuild the Legion of Doom, are we? Maybe. But Nick feels like a combination of Richard Sherman with his ball hawking skill with the physicality of Chandler. For those Seahawks fans, you're probably going, that's a great combination. I know, right? So to me, this feels like they're getting to one. And no disrespect, but I'm sure some Seahawks fans are still kind of bummed on the Jamal Adams situation. I kind of feel like he was supposed to be kind of like the guy they wanted him to be, but he kind of didn't. And it's kind of disappointing because I really did like Jamal Adams. I really did like him as a player and as, a talent. So it's kind of sad to see that, man, I really thought he was going to be like that Troy Polamalu type of safety, a lot more physical. But Nick going to Seattle, no pressure, dude. You got the reputation, the Legion of Boom on you, but this feels very much like they're rebuilding the Legion of Boom, or trying to bring the secondary back into promise, back into focus. Still in the second round, with the 50th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Seattle Seahawks selected Elijah Arroyo, tight end, Miami, Florida, the U. Yes! I was really happy. When I heard his name got called, I was like, are you kidding me? They got him? Oh, I love him. Oh, this was probably one of the most unsung heroes of the Cam Ward Heisman campaign for the Hurricanes. I felt like he was solid. He was vibrant, but I really feel like a lot of the attention went to Cam Ward and the perimeter receiving threat more than the tight end department. Him going to Seattle with Noah Fant, who's still a solid tight end, I feel like this just makes it easy for Sam Darnold. I always feel like when I talk about the Rams, a two tight end system doesn't necessarily mean run support anymore. Now it gives that feeling of we could run the ball, we can do a quick flat, or we can do a seam down the middle for 60-yard touchdowns. You don't know what we can do. And Noah Fant still draws the attention. But now you have another young, vibrant tight end coming in who can be just as much of a threat on the perimeter side as in the middle. You're giving Sam Darnold plenty of weapons that even if he doesn't get the same type of numbers he got in Minnesota, he's not going to drop off to the point where you're going, well, that was a waste. So to me, this is a kind of a polished diamond that needs a little more time to develop, but don't be surprised if he becomes just as much as dangerous of a threat as everyone else in that receiving core. And Sam Darnold gives 40 catches this year. Don't be surprised. And now the big surprise. And it's 11 picks, so it's going to be hard to make this over time. But in the third round, with the 92nd pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Seattle Seahawks selected Jalen Milroe, quarterback, Alabama. Okay. I love quarterbacks, so I'm going to be a little bit more favoritism here. Jalen, I would felt like Jalen probably should have gone back to school if he could have. Or should have. I think he could have, but he didn't. Very much remember Nick Saban benched him before because he felt like he wasn't quarterback enough for him, I guess. And they brought him back, and then he lost to Michigan in the Rose Bowl in the playoffs. Jalen, I don't know if he's up. I don't know if he's willing to do it, but he does a quarterback. But I talk about Swiss Army knives, and I feel like Taysom Hill opened the door for it. Is Jalen open to becoming that situational quarterback scheme? I don't know, but let's be real. A lot of Alabama's success is Jalen's athleticism in the pocket to get the yards, and sometimes just his dynamic take a 3rd and 1 and take it 10, 20, 40, 60 yards. And he does it so... I feel like he's a little bit more physical than Lamar Jackson when it comes to running outside of the box and in the open field. I feel like Jalen can take more of a punishment than Jackson can. So I wonder if they will utilize his athleticism for key situations, or are they going to use him as a quarterback strictly, and if Sam Darnold injuries forbidding or something, would they be willing to trust him to be given the ropes to do it? They still got Drew Lock in there, so we'll see what happened with that pick. But I don't know, guys. I look at Jalen, and I understand quarterbacks have an ego. Trust me, I know. Would he be open for an athlete position for the offense to get playing time in the NFL? I don't know. But I feel like in today's NFL, being interchangeable gets you more playing time and gets you more value. But like I said, we quarterbacks are a bunch of self-centered bunches. Trust me, I should know. But if he's willing to be a Taysom Hill type of player, he'll be the most exciting one. That's what I'm saying. Then they took a break, and then we go to the 5th round. With the 142nd pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Seattle Seahawks selected Riley Mills, defensive tackle, Notre Dame. Okay, I like this pick. This is the pick that I was the most like, okay. Now I remember they got Byron Jr., Byron Murphy last year from Texas. Okay, and Mills. I know Mills got hurt. I think he got hurt at the Indiana game, and something like that. I know he got hurt, so he didn't really play the rest of the playoffs. And Notre Dame went all the way up to the championship game and lost Ohio State. So not a big loss. I was rooting for the Buckeyes anyway that year. I have a lot of Notre Dame Irish fans that I kind of want to mock when they lose. So I have my Shelton Floyd moment. So Byron Murphy from Texas, which you got last year, and you got Mills this year. You got 2 young defensive tackles coming into, and you're running a 3-4 defense. Mills is currently being viewed to be the right defensive end, while Murphy's currently being viewed as the nose tackle. And Leonard Williams is right there at the right defensive end, so no pressure for Riley Mills to come in. But if Riley Mills plays the level that he was playing before he got hurt, this guy could be a steal for the Seattle Seahawks, even though they're running a 3-4 defense, because I feel like Mills probably fits better at a 4-3 defense. But all depends, because remember, they got DeMarcus Lawrence. They got DeMarcus Lawrence from the Cowboys, so for all we know, that's probably why it's more for him to be inside in the defensive end than outside. But I'm hoping Mills gets back to the form, but I really believe, I thought a 4-3 might have fit better for him as a defensive tackle. But defensive end, and Leonard Williams is more athletic than we give him credit for. So for all I know, rotational player, get some playing time, that's something there. Like I said, Murphy is 2nd year and he's still young, even though Murphy is currently viewed as a backup to Jonathan Hanks. But rotation is the way to go. It makes your career a lot longer, and therefore makes you just as much to keep a job if you're rotation. And then boom, your 5th year, you get that big contract and you're making splash plays and become Pro Bowlers. It's a weird thing the NFL is. Still in the 5th round with the 166th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Seattle Seahawks selected Torrey Horton, wide receiver, Colorado State University. I hope. So, another wide receiver for Seattle can help, but I feel like this is probably more of an insurance policy for the aging Cup and the aging Valdez-Scantling. We all know that Jackson Smith is the go-to wide receiver for the Seattle, and everyone else is there for support. We're not saying that Coop and Marquez can develop, a 60, 70 reception type season and, 800 to 7 touchdowns season. We're not saying that. Especially if we're believing that Sam Darnold got a Baker Mayfield, Geno Smith comeback, and he's going to do the same thing. We're not saying that. We're not hating that. We're not doing that. We're going to be positive on this channel as much as we can until reality smacks us in the face. So let's say that this pick is mainly meant to get ourselves insuring for the receiving core that we have currently. Horton is currently being viewed as the 2nd teamer behind others. So he's probably viewed as the 4th receiver automatically, if not the 5th receiver. And let's be real, I can't help but feel like that Gallup from Colorado State was also very successful from Colorado State. Am I saying it very similar? Not at all. I'm just saying that let's not criticize Colorado State for not developing great quality players. And plus, they play in the Mountain West. The Mountain West is not a crap conference. You don't care, even though people don't think the Mountain West is anything great. I think Mountain West is a bunch of diamonds that just don't get the polish they deserve. But in the NFL, they could be. Ashton Genty was a top 10 pick, guys. And he's from Boise. That's literally the king of the Mountain West Conference. So looking at it that way, Horton, here's a who he's going to be And I believe that he's meant there to develop behind the veteran receivers and eventually probably become a starter, if not earlier than later. Sooner than later, that's the word. Still in the 5th round, with the 175th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Seattle Seahawks selected Robbie Ostes, tight end, Bama. Ostes? Am I pronouncing it right? Robbie, if you hear me out there, did I say it right? So another tight end for Bama. Now I'm going to be I'm going to be that guy. Dude, you're a tight end. I don't see your name here. Yeah, I don't see your name here on the depth chart. So I'm just gonna go straight to the roster and see. Did they change your position? No, here you are. Okay, you're on the roster, so it's a tight end. My guess, I thought they might move you to a fullback position as an extra back. 6'4", 270. See, that's the weight of a tight end. 6'4", 270. Now, Alabama is one of those programs that always gets on the attention. They always do, especially when it comes to playoff contention. You want to pay attention to. But no disrespect to Robbie, he's one of those players that you just be like, oh yeah, number 45, yeah. I don't know. I kind of felt like he was overshadowed by other players. I'm trying to pull up his stats here that he did at Alabama. And of course, he has no football stats in the NFL. Of course, he doesn't. So I don't know. 6'4", 270. You already got a tight end from Miami, which I feel like is more of a receiving threat. I can't help but feel like maybe Robbie more as a blocking tight end with intangibles to catch. Maybe that's the reason why I look at him there. Like I said, I thought maybe I might move him to a fullback, even though he's 6'4", 270. So to me, Robbie is probably just an extra pair of hands on the tight end side. Remember I said, we got Noah Fant already in there as a starting guy. So to me, this probably viewed as an extra blocking tight end with intangibles to catch. Cole Keith, the tight end from Tampa, the Bucks picked him up. He's a tight end, but he does go up in the backfield as a fullback on certain situations, but he does make catches in between too. So maybe that's what Seattle's thinking of, is that if we want to run the ball, I mean, they did get an offensive guard in the first pick, number 16th overall. I can help feel like they want to run the ball, and nothing screams run the ball than a big blocking tight end, because the fullback breed is dead. Let's be real, it is. Even though a lot of us want to be fullbacks, but realize fullback is just a glorifier. You're too slow to be a running back. And sometimes too short to be a tight end. So they sadly killed the position completely over time and just placed him with just big tight ends. So to me, I'm going to say that Robbie is meant to be that guy, that interchangeable tight end, fullback hybrid for key situations, go out of the flat on a play action route, get a 2-yard completion on a 4th and 1, something like that. I feel like he is a situational scheme player. That's not a bad thing. It means you get playing time a lot more, and the schemes are designed for you in mind. Then we go to the 6th round finally. With the 192nd pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Seattle Seahawks select Bryce Cabell-Duell, offensive tackle, Kansas. I butcher that name very badly. So, I said before, interior offensive linemen are meant for run support. Offensive tackles, are meant for pass protection and also perimeter running, but I always feel like it's mainly for pass first, then perimeter blocking for run support. So let's see where they have Bryce currently viewed as. Bryce is viewed, and there you go, like I thought. And by thought, I mean that happens. They currently have him viewed as a right guard, according to the ESPN.com Seattle mock depth chart. They have him as the 3rd string offensive guard on the right side behind Sanato and Haynes. So there you go. Sometimes we see offensive tackles get moved inside. Funny enough, we never see it happen the opposite way, where the offensive guard becomes the offensive tackle. for reasons because I feel like offensive tackle got to be a little bit wider and bigger so they can extend the arm, while the guards are more compact and inside, but like thick. You know, we want a wide tree, but guards want like a thick trunk, like boom, and they can drive off the ball and take the defensive tackle to the linebacker, then dance in the end zone as a big boys rise up type of motion. So there you go. They're already moving him to inside, and that doesn't mean he can't potentially be viewed as a tackle when a situation calls for it. But they already have him projected as an inside guy, so this is mainly meant for development, and which gives him time. Yes, he's a late round pick, and yes, he's a third stringer according to the report, but that doesn't mean he is a waste. This guy probably needs time to develop, and like I said, who knows? Maybe if things happen, God forbid, of course, he might be called in to play tackle. We don't know what's going on in camp. We don't know what's going on in training camp. We don't know what's going on with his coaches, but right now they have him projected as a guard. So we'll see, but I really believe that he was a tackle in college. He probably could be as versatile as a tackle if necessary, especially in, multiple tight end formation, becomes an extra blocker. So we'll see what he does in the camp, but yep, he's already being viewed as a guard. Then we got the last 3 picks in the 7th round. With the 223rd pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Seattle Seahawks select Damian Martinez, running back, Miami. The Hurricane. So another teammate joined the same team. It's a match made in brotherhood. It's a go from Miami across to Seattle. I mean, they're literally going from pew. They are literally dabbing their way across the country into different time zones. That was very cringe what I just did, but I don't care. So, running back by committee, I feel like Walker is the bell cow they want to go to, but that doesn't mean they're not open to it because, let's be real, a lot of times running back for Seattle, especially Walker, injuries does plague his season, and they kind of don't want to miss that step, especially when a lot of their time they're trying to develop the middle side of the offensive line to make run support up the middle. And according to this, Martinez is viewed as a 4th stringer behind McIntosh and Zach, but I don't feel like it's a bad thing, especially for Seattle. So to me, this feels more like develop, run well. Plus, you played for the Miami, and the Miami Hurricane had a great year led by a Heisman Trophy candidate in Cam Ward. So the offense knows how to thrive and know how to handle a good, strong offense. So make your marks in the preseason. Let's be real, I doubt Walker's going to get a lot of playing time in preseason. So it's just you and the others fighting for that 2nd and 3rd string spot and see where it goes from there. There's an opportunity for you here, and I believe your opportunity is much greater than most running backs since most of the times you're going to be viewed as just a downhill runner, and that's quite frankly where you're going to shine as a pass catcher too. So to me, this guy is just raw enough to make the roster, and we'll see how much he does in preseason, but I will not be surprised if he gets rotation as a 3rd down back. Then, about 10 picks later in the 7th round, with a 234th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Seattle Seahawks selected Mason Richmond, offensive tackle, Iowa. Now, to go back to a previous video where I criticized Iowa, they have no quarterback. Not a good one anyway, let's be real. They haven't really had a good quarterback that really was like, this is Iowa's identity. We all know Iowa's identity was basically the tight ends and running the ball, and sometimes their offensive linemen. Tristan Wirf, anybody? So, seeing them get an offensive tackle from Iowa, which they currently have him as a left tackle behind Cross and Jones on the mock draft. One, it's a left tackle, which basically means you're basically being in a position where your job is to protect our quarterback, because most quarterbacks are right-handed, so therefore you want to protect their blind side. But Iowa has been successful more as a run offense type team, so this feels more like maybe they brought him in there as an extra run support on situation as a perimeter blocker to block the end or the Russian linebacker. So to me, this feels more of they're trying to get the rushing attack going more than they want to get the passing perimeter attack going. Now, it doesn't mean that they can work both the same way, but the way it's looking with like this, especially getting players who are probably most known for run blocking, this feels more of a run blocking type of scheme, which feels more to they want to run the ball. Sam Darnold, we hope, is the same Sam Darnold, or at least maybe only 5% less than he was in Minnesota, but that doesn't mean we want to make him the only guy. The Seahawks have a good offensive core on the perimeter side, but get that running attack going. We saw how well it done with other quarterbacks that have a good rushing attack. We saw what Jared Goff looked like with a rushing attack. We saw what Baker Mayfield looked like with a rushing attack. We see what happens when quarterbacks on new teams get a good rushing attack. It takes the pressure off them, and sometimes it makes their quarterbacks better because when they make those big plays, they're thinking, wow, look how good he can do. And we also can run the ball as a team. That's a dynamic dual threat we have on offense. Yay! So to me, Richman is going to be the man as an offensive tackle in the left side as a run supporter from Iowa. And then the last pick in the 7th round with the 238th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Seattle Seahawks selected Ricky White III, wide receiver, UNLV. UNLV was a much improved program last year. And besides the NIL deal with a quarterback, which basically I thought was, okay, there goes the season, but they didn't. UNLV's defense was actually more effective than I thought they were. Surprising. I mean, they really, for a moment, they contained Ashton Genty in the Mountain West Conference championship game, except for that one big run. Other than that, they really held strong in that. And Ricky White III, I'm gonna put him up there with Horton. This guy is probably brought in to develop under the veteran receivers they currently have, and potentially, in time, become part of the top 3 receivers. I mean, they even have him currently viewed behind Marquez Valdes-Scantling as a second guy. So very much like Horton, they have him as the number 2 already in the 3 receiver starting set, which goes to the point of he probably could be the number 5th guy or number 6th guy up there with Horton when the season starts. And we all believe that most of these receivers are probably not going to play in the preseason, which means more opportunities for them to thrive in the preseason to get reps and make that roster spot. Now I wonder. Yep, I was right. Horton and Ricky White are viewed as special teams returners in the punt game. Horton's viewed as the number 1 punt returner projection, while Ricky is viewed as the number 3. That does not mean it cannot change, but that's another way for them to get on the team, and that might be another reason why they were picked up, is because they offer special team return ability that offers an extra flair of flavor when it comes to receiving threat. Not only are they viewed as number 2 behind the veterans, they're viewed as probably the new returners moving forward for the Seattle Seahawks, which means they are more valuable than just a wide receiver and an offensive scheme. Special teams contributor, especially returner, which I feel like is the most glorious position, but it's kind of like a home run or nothing type position where unless you take it to the house, it's kind of like, no one really cares if you did a 66-yard punt return if it does not go for a touchdown. Let's be real. How many times we see good return and be like, and he gets stopped inside the 5. You're like, oh well. It's a good return, but you don't have that flair of like, he took it all away. I mean, come on, just watch Joshua Cribbs, Devin Hester, Dante Hall. Watch these returners just, they are literally the ultimate superpower thing. I mean, yes, Michael Vick, Randall Cunningham, they have their mobility and stuff like that. Yes, we understand Devontae and Julio Jones have those great catches. We get that. Woodson and Darrelle Revis have those great interceptions. We get that. But punt returners and kickoff returners are like the cool kid who are known for one thing, but that one thing gets them invited to all the parties and all the events. Got kind of personal there. But anyway, that's what I believe is going to be. So to me, White the third and Horton, there he is. There's the diamond. There's the extra element they offer. So that's the Seattle Seahawks. The grade I give it, a lot of this is banking on the veteran players that they signed in free agency that were starters and contributors to other teams. Can they combine what they have? They got 11 players, and I feel like they got a little bit of everything. Running back, defensive line, receivers, tackles. They got everything. And I think the Nick pick, the safety from South Carolina, is going to be viewed as my favorite. So therefore, going reverse, my favorite is Nick, while my grade is better. I would like to say contender, but Seattle the past few years have always been like one game or one half a game away from making the playoffs every year with Geno Smith. I am not saying they are worse off. I'm just saying that when Baker Mayfield and Jared Goff went to their new teams, no one was singing their praises until the season started. Even then, they were still viewed as, we don't know how good they're going to be in year 2, year 3. Now Jared Goff is paid and Baker Mayfield's on the verge of potentially getting a new contract and be worth almost double what he was made when he first got a new contract with the Bucs in the first place. So, we don't know what Sam Darnold's going to do. We're still kind of, the Seattle's kind of hoping. And I feel like, yeah, Nick Emanwari, I hope I pronounced the name right, is the guy to go to, because I'm going to use that same comparison. He's Richard Sherman with Chandler's body frame. That's what I'm going to say he's going to be. And if he is, I said it first. So, yeah, that to me is the Seattle Seahawks, and that is it with the NFC West. I made a mess over there. So you all know what that means. We're going to go to the West. We went from the NFC, now we're going to the AFC West. And no, just because your team went to the Super Bowl doesn't mean you're escape from me. No. We're going to the AFC West, because this is the draft. It's not about the season. So quite frankly, the order is what I say it is. And we're going to start, well, I talked about them earlier, so let's talk about it now. We're going to start with the Las Vegas Raiders. As they got Ashton Jennings from Boise, they got Brock Bowers, and they got Seattle's Geno Smith. So kind of a nice, clever segue into the new division as we talk about the Raiders in the start of the AFC West 2025 draft recap. But until then, I'm Cortez, and I'm a critic. Thank you so very much for watching. Oh,